Floyd Mayweather Jr. checks a whole lot of people at the same time on an interview that he gave to The Pivot, Gervonta Davis, Terence Crawford, and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao most directly. But man, I got to tell you, Floyd Mayweather Jr. says that he is the greatest fighter of all time or the best ever. And that he has accomplished more than Ali and all the other greats. One thing I will tell you for sure, though I disagree with that, is that he definitely has the biggest ego of any athlete in the history of sports. Let's talk about what he had to say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and let's talk about this boxing one more time. Floyd Mayweather Jr., the best fighter of this century, I think, without a doubt, the best fighter of this century, gave an interview to The Pivot, a YouTube podcast, big YouTube podcast, talking about a variety of subjects and laid claim to a couple things that I think we should talk about. Number one relates to Canelo Alvarez and Gervonta Davis's claims that they are the face of boxing, which Floyd Mayweather Jr. has an issue with. Second, he talks about being the greatest fighter and people trying to be like him, and how none of these guys can fight like he fights, which is a direct or an indirect reference to claims that Terence Crawford is a better fighter than Floyd is. Now, before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you for your support. It really does make a huge difference to the channel. And you, if you can, you should do the same for the people in the super thanks to YouTube channels that you support, because it is a great way, to continue to support them. But let's get into this, because I think that it is interesting, man. First and foremost, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is without a doubt one of the best fighters that I've ever seen fight. Personally, I think he's, of the time of fighters that I got to see, he may be the best. I saw Muhammad Ali early in his career. Early in my lifetime, and late in his career. So it's really hard for me. To compare the two, right? But excellent fighter, man. Excellent fighter. But the man has the biggest ego of anybody that I've ever seen. Now, also, I was looking for something and I wanted to do this. Enigma's Revenge. Thank you so much for the $2 support sponsorship in the Canelo Alvarez video yesterday. Thank you so much. Really makes a huge difference to the channel. Thank you, man. And thank you to Big Me and Matty Yole again. But Floyd Mayweather Jr. said that he's still the face of boxing. And I got to tell you, I think that he is 100% correct. There's been people like Devin Haney saying that they're the face of boxing. You have Gervonta Davis saying that he's the face of boxing. And then other people, I'm not sure if I've ever heard Canelo Alvarez say that he's the face of boxing, but obviously there are people that say Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing. I have never thought that was the case for definitely not Devin Haney. That is absolutely ridiculous. Gervonta Davis, I wouldn't say that that's the truth, and I wouldn't say that that's the truth for Canelo, because when you look at the face of boxing, it's like, who do you think of when you think of boxing? And I think the closest person to that is clearly Floyd Mayweather Jr., even though Floyd Mayweather Jr. is not fighting anymore. I think that he is 100% accurate about that in saying, no, if anything, I'm still the face of boxing. And I mean, as far as the name recognition and the number of people that think about him when they think about boxing, he's probably correct. Obviously, he's not still fighting now, but I do believe he's done a bigger pay-per-view than pretty much anybody in boxing within the last several years in an exhibition fight. So I think that he's probably correct about that. Now, the reason why I say that that his ego is just gigantic is when he talks about being the best fighter, right? Now, he says nobody in boxing right now is as good a fighter as he is. I don't have a problem with that either, because it's really hard to argue that anybody is. Terence Crawford may be, but Terence Crawford really has not. I mean, I wouldn't say he was better. I think maybe if you put him in a matchup together, you may wonder who's going to win that fight. But I think Terence is naturally a little bit bigger than Errol is, than Terence Mayweather is, a little longer. But, definitely a good matchup. But, I mean, God dog, man, Floyd beat Canelo, Floyd beat Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao. Diego Corrales. He beat Jose Luis Castillo, Juan Manuel Marquez, Shane Mosley. It just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on with the number of people that he beat and the number of Hall of Fame fighters or Hall of Fame level fighters that man beat. It's very hard to put Terence Crawford next to him like that, because the truth be told, Terence Crawford has beaten one guy that is a Hall of Fame level fighter in Errol Spence. And so that, again, I go with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and what Floyd Mayweather Jr. says there. Now, this is where I'm saying that Manny loses me on this. When he starts saying that he is like the greatest fighter of all time, man, and that he gives respect to the older fighters, but no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, because he claims a level of fame beyond a certain fighter that he really doesn't have any ground to stand on. And that is the comparison between him and Muhammad Ali. There's really no comparison between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Muhammad Ali if you do a apples for apples comparison between the two. And by apples and apples, I mean, if you don't compare, say, the number of people that watched Ali fight to the number of people that watched Floyd Mayweather Jr. compete, there's no comparison whatsoever. Billions of people watched Muhammad Ali fight. Not billions of people watched Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight. There was no real pay-per-view in the sense that you could flick on your TV and every living room could pay $75, $80 for your fight. So if you look at Ali and you try to compare him to the amount of money that was generated in the fight, that is more of a technological difference. And that speaks more to the difference in the purchasing mechanisms at the time that they fight. Similar to the way if you compare Floyd Mayweather Jr. to Joe Louis. Joe Louis was a bigger name during the time that Joe Louis fought than Floyd Mayweather Jr. was when Floyd Mayweather Jr. fought. And because he was on the radio, everybody in neighborhoods would stick their radios outside of the window. So the whole block would be in like surround sound, and they would have picnic tables up and partying and playing cards and drinking, and everybody listening out in the middle of streets in towns all over the United States, listening to Joe Louis whenever Joe Louis fought over the radio. So for him to say that that when you get into all time, you have to do an apples for apples comparison. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. is most definitely the most popular and the biggest name fighter of his era. But he was not as dominating as in his era as Ali was dominating in his era, because Ali was the biggest entertainer in the world. He was bigger than all the singers. He was bigger than all the basketball players, bigger than all the golfers, bigger than all the baseball players, bigger than all the politicians. And that's not the case with Floyd. And when Floyd is looking at the things that are important to Floyd, looking at the money looking at the money that he made. Yes, he made a tremendous amount of money. However, if you take Floyd and you put him in the 1970s, what type of money is he going to make? He's probably going to make some millions, but he's not going to make 75 million. He's not going to push up on 100 million. He's not going to push up on $100 million in the 1970s. And also, you have to take into consideration that these guys build upon one another. So I just think, man, sometimes when Floyd has a recency bias and he has a self bias, but what he can do in the ring and what he says about these guys not being better fighters than him, hey, man, I can't argue with him there. But man, every time he starts talking about that money and him being bigger than every fighter in history, there's just such a big difference between him and Ali. And the fame of Ali versus the fame of Floyd Mayweather Jr., it's absolutely, it's night and day. During the time that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was fighting, there was a golfer named Tiger Woods that was as big or bigger than him at the same time. In the early portion, there's a basketball player that's a bigger name than Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the entire time Floyd has been a professional, and that's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan really is still not as big as Ali. And if he is, it's like they're like right there and right there. Ali and Michael Jordan are a better comparison than Ali and Floyd Mayweather Jr. But that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.